Hey, there he is.
I know it.
Oh shit! I gotta go. I'll be right back.
We invoked him. There he is.
5 minutes.
I'm about to tweet the link out, so give me 1 sec.
I gotta go to the store real quick.
More diapers.
Nah, man, blunts.
Oh my god.
Be right back. The store right across the street.
Okay, so today Rome will return, but he's here with us in spirit. So today we are going to cover a myriad of topics. I was going to cover just one topic, and then I was like, we have 2 hours, we can do more. So first things first, I would like to show, believe it or not, a TikTok. Because a TikTok, it's like really quick, but it somehow manages to show the Israeli-Palestinian. It's 3 minutes long, but it gives you like a quick history. Of course, it's completely oversimplified, but it shows the introduction to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And I'm going to share that right now. Actually, no, sorry.
Over. Isn't that exciting? Well, we've actually been coexisting pretty well. So. Amazing. So I kind of promised these guys their own version, right here. So we're gonna start letting more of them in, if that's chill. You never asked me about this. Really? I thought I CC'd you on that Telegram. No, actually, we've kind of been wanting our own nation here. Well, so do we. Guys, I'm sensing some tension here. Are you guys gonna make this hard for me, or? Okay, so that got a little violent. How about this? We'll give you guys your own nation in 10 years. 10 years? And we're going to let in less of you guys. Wait, what? Are we happy? You guys look happy. Wow, I need to get the out of here. Wow. Okay, that was insane. Horrible. Yeah, I know that was terrible. Yeah, a ton of my people are refugees now. Yeah, so you guys wanted your own nation, right? Yeah. And
hello everyone. I'm actually going to start this over because you kind of have to see it.
Okay, you're going to love it. He was literally just born. Hey guys, and I'm going to head out. Okay, I just need some.
Yeah, that's fine. You can just start over.
Baby cake.
Yo, what's good? What's good? What are you doing? I'm the new owner of this place. I just took over. Isn't that exciting? Well, we've actually been coexisting pretty well. So. Amazing. So I kind of promised these guys their own nation, right here. So we're gonna start letting more of them in, if that's chill. You never asked me about this. Really? I thought I CC'd you on that Telegram. No, actually, we've kind of been wanting our own nation here. Well, so do we. Guys, I'm sensing some tension here. Are you guys gonna make this hard for me, or? Okay, so that got a little violent. How about this? We'll give you guys your own nation in 10 years. 10 years? And we're going to let in less of you guys. Wait, what? Are we happy? You guys look happy. Wow, I need to get the out of here. Wow. Okay, that was insane. Horrible. Yeah, I know that was terrible. Yeah, a ton of my people are refugees now. Yeah, so you guys wanted your own nation, right? Yeah. And you guys wanted your own nation. Yeah. So I'm gonna pass you both off to my boy. Okay, you're gonna love him. He was literally just born. Hey guys. And I'm gonna head out. Okay, I just need some me time. You guys fight so much. You did this. Really? I have no idea what you're talking about. Hey guys, so I just made a map that I think you're both gonna like. We'll take it. We're gonna declare war. We got you, bro. Well, we won both of those wars, and we ended up with way more land than we started with. So yeah, that includes all of my land. And now I have a ton of refugees who want to go back to their homes. Well, you lost. Hey, sorry. Could you actually give him that land back? But he's not a nation. No, so we decided that you both have a right to a nation. Well, I don't accept that. Yeah, of course. If you keep occupying this land, that's kind of against international law. I disagree. Oh. Yo!
Okay, so that was super oversimplified, but it shows how, because I think a lot of people assume that this conflict is a religious conflict entirely, and some people actually believe that Israel was a state for thousands of years when it wasn't created until the 1940s. So I like that because it gives the basics. I want to start with Nick because you know about the history of this conflict, do you not?
Yeah, I read a lot about it, and the biggest thing about Israel-Palestine, and the reason why it's really hard to educate yourself on this, because especially someone who now know not to trust American media, is there's so much misinformation on this, so much blatant propaganda. But right now we're seeing the tide change, because things that's what considered normalized in Western society and Western culture, like the culture of colonialism, is like not publicly acceptable no more. So now we're looking at the talking points like, all right, this doesn't make sense. Like just like you said, Israel, like you guys didn't have a country until the 1940s, and now they like people always try to make excuses for them, but they are open about this because you have Israeli citizens, you have a lot of people that on the highest levels of Israeli government who are literally open about what they were trying to accomplish. While Western media are trying to spin this a lot of different ways, trying to apologize and make it seem like it's Palestine that's in the fault, you have Israeli officials openly calling for the fact that we want to commit genocide on the Palestinian people. You have Benjamin Netanyahu, who is literally siding and putting far-right Israeli extremists in high-level government positions. And these are the people that they called for genocide of the Palestinian people on Twitter because they said, we've tried everything else. We tried everything else. This is the party position that Benjamin Netanyahu is a part of. Meanwhile, you have the Democratic Party, you have liberals, you have Joe Biden, and they call out American nationalism, right? That's easy to do. But meanwhile, they're friends with Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government, who are unapologetically ethno-fascists. And that's been very kind about it, because while people are on the West and people who are sympathetic to the Zionist idea, while they're trying to pretend this is a complicated issue, and I played this on my show on Tuesday, we literally have clips and we literally have quotes from the Israelis telling them exactly what they want to do. We got them literally tweeting on the English account on Israel. They try to keep it moderate because they know they still have to sell it to the left-wing movements. But when you look at, and I have sources that speak Israeli, when you look at their Twitter account, they're very open for the fact that they cheering on for the bombs, and when they talk among themselves, I mean, it's very obvious what they're trying to accomplish. So now what's happening is it's pretty amazing, because now we've reached that next level where the propaganda is not working. There's a lot of issues where this happens on, like the issues of gay rights, the issues of policing, the issues of healthcare, where it's like, all right, there's something that happened where the previous bullshit is unacceptable, and that's what we're seeing right now. We have an article that kind of breaks down. I don't know if you want to put up there. We can kind of go through it as well. The history between Israel and Palestine, and Israel built the current situation as right now, the settlements. Everything is because of Israel's, and it's just that kind of what the TikTok would explain there as well. Because of their aggression and because their leaders been open about they using the two-state solution as a way to steal the land. Because you guys know what they base that off of? It based off the blueprint America used against the Native Americans, where you propose a two-state solution, then you slowly crawl back and you take territory. And that's what they're doing right now. That's why they're evicting homes. That's why they literally bombing literally densely populated Palestinian areas, because they're very open what they're trying to do. They're trying to gain and shrink the Palestinian state the same way American colonizers shrink the Native American states. It's a very well thought out plan, and it's not an accident. And just like one of the comments by Kitsuni on the HAP side here said, it's an open air prison. But that's kind of my immediate breakdown on this. But I think we can take time and we can kind of have an educational segment, because there is a great article in Jacobin that kind of outlines how Israel is complicit with this issue. I sent that to you. I don't know if you want to put it on screen, but I'll pass it to JB actually. What's your or Jackie?
Yeah, I can put it up in just a moment. But JB, what do you know about the origin of this conflict, and more aside from just the origin, but the outside influences that helped create it? Like in that TikTok we saw, Britain was helped create it. What they kind of skipped over was the reason why Israel won both wars. They showed that the Arab community came by to support Palestine, but what they didn't show was who supported Israel. So I'll send it to you, Jamie.
Okay. Um, the first part of the question, and this I may be describing this very oversimplistically, but this is because I'm still new. I know. You can liken it to when the British colonial settlers came to the Americas and they tried to colonize this nation, which we now know as the United States. And it's kind of like the indigenous Americans, if they were fighting against the colonial settlers from taking over their land, then what we call the indigenous Americans, the Native Americans, will we call them terrorists? Would we call them, would we say that they don't have a right to defend themselves if they were essentially here first? Is that really fair? That's kind of what I see it as so far in my mind. Now, if there's anyone who is more educated on this aspect, in which I'll be talking to Richard Meadhurst on Sunday anyway about this to educate me a little bit more further. But that's what it sounds like to me. And so one of the things that you actually asked me about also was the the Israelis and who they got help from. Well, of course, the Israelis got help from the United States. So if you get getting help from one of the major superpowers of the world, I think it was um, United States and Britain, respectively, then of course, your battles are going to be easier for you because you have this great military power behind you. Um, and the United States continues to be behind Israel today. And the United States has a history of fascism, white supremacy, and colonialism. So of course they see Israel almost like their little brother, so to speak. So it's like, yeah, you guys want to do the same thing? Okay, we're down with you. And so we stand against that type of oppression. So therefore, you know, seeing what the Palestinians are going through and that they are being oppressed, of course, we stand with them as well. So, from the scope of what I've been hearing, people who are listening about what Palestinians have been going through, and seeing what Israelis have been saying on the ground about Palestinians and the the deplorable things that they've been saying, it gives me no reason to suspect that really it's just an ethno state and a genocide of Palestinian Americans.
Yeah, and one thing that
Okay.
I've been recently picking up on, and I sent you the article now. Hopefully, you got that. I want people to understand that this is not a war and this is not a conflict, and this is what our Palestinian brothers and sisters have been saying for quite a long time now. And I'm blanking on the guy's name, but I want to send him an invite. I want to get him on the show. He was the guy that went viral because he was like on CNN or MSNBC. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? He was the guy who was literally telling them and debunking mainstream talking points live on there. Like, no, stop calling it a war. Stop calling it a conflict. What it is, you have a highly advanced military bombing a very small, highly dense. The Gaza Strip is one of the most densely populated areas in the world, period. And then the Israel propaganda say, oh, well, the Palestinians, they use human shields. It's like, bro, where else are they supposed to go? They're like, well, they put all their medical equipment near the terrorists. Bro, that's still you bombing medical equipment. Like, how is that supposed to be an excuse for bombing schools and hospitals? Third most populated city in the world, I believe. Thank you, Kasuni, for bringing that up in the Hap Chat. So it's like whenever I hear, I really, especially in my when I was becoming more radicalized, I really tried to approach this issue level-minded because I didn't know that much about the region. Obviously, everyone had to start somewhere. So I literally came as neutral as a point of view as I can possibly think of. But hearing the bullshit, I'm sorry, I'm gonna try to cuss less on the show. I'm gonna try to do that. Hearing the BS from Zionists, on the Israel-Palestine, how they will openly lie and say dishonest statements. I don't understand how the Free Palestine and the pro-Palestine position isn't common sense to people now. Because just like JB, I'm glad that JB is very humble. Because I'm one of the people, I don't pretend to know everything. But everything I've been studying on this issue for the last few years, like, how can anyone take the pro-Israel position? In fact, anyone who's a Zionist, I find them to be unbelievably unhinged. Unbelievably unhinged, because the crux of the matter is we have a United States president that is funding a genocide of the Palestinian people. And that's why we have solidarity with the Palestinians who are currently waging historic general strike right now. And guess who's been advocating for a general strike for a long time? we are
on that note, I'm going to Rome.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
You're muted. Hang on. Okay, there you go. You're gonna have to recap with me because I'm kind of bulging in. So where was this going? Like, how do
we were talking about the origin of the Palestinian and Israeli conflict, and we started out showing a TikTok video that oversimplified it, but basically showed how it all started with the UK, and it was amplified after World War II, and how Israel decided to declare war. So, like, how the UK basically started the mess and then brought in the United Nations, and the United Nations didn't really help much. And then Israel decided to declare war. They were backed by the US and the UK. That's how they won. And so we're showing the origin of how this all got started.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, it sounds like y'all got that. Y'all don't need me on this, but but yeah, yeah, and for Nick, you say you don't understand how people can think this way. Shit, I can, and that's just coming from, I guess, one killer to the next. Some people just want to see people hurt. Some people just want to see people dead. Just because you are a good person in the heart, and in your mind, you can't, let your guard down for all these other motherfuckers. So, don't let it blow you away too far that these motherfuckers are crazy, because you never know who's sitting up under you, But yeah, we've been funding this shit since forever. I mean, we gave birth to Nazis. That's all we have been, really putting out across these other continents is Nazism. Really, that's all we've been putting out. And colonization. We've been really, we really never left. We gave these people jobs. You know what I'm saying? Military jobs in NASA. Man, it's not gonna change. Like, I don't know. It's not gonna change with any voting and no shit like that. Like, we gonna have to really get out here and probably fight for real in order for this shit to happen, because no rights will ever get passed. No rights will ever get passed by voting, or they won't even let you get that close to taking away that power. So we're gonna have to get out here and show our asses to stop the US government from doing something like that, even though it's almost damn near impossible for our politicians to act right. But it's either you're gonna face our music or theirs. You're gonna face it somewhere. So yeah, that's all I got to say. I kind of came in the middle of that, so forgive me.
Do you have anything you want to add up, RJ?
Not really, but I guess what I have to say about this situation that's continues to be ongoing is that it is pretty troubling, especially with the United States' huge influence over the UN, the United Nations as well. And you would think having an international body that has every representative from every country on the face of the planet getting together, that was really designed post-World War II to prevent any future wars or any catastrophes from happening like it did during World War II and even generations before. And it's just really surprising that the UN itself as a body isn't really investigating this as it should be. And it's kind of siding with the United States, mostly because the United States is the UN's biggest funder. So I think that's kind of one of the biggest problems I see. And in my interview I did with Jason Kishnev as well, he discussed like this thing called a progressive Zionist, which to me is something I never knew about, and he described it as Zionists, those who believed in having a state of Israel that and a place that Jewish people could live, but they don't necessarily agree with the suffering of the Palestinian people. And my say to that is like, well, why aren't you one of the first ones actually fighting your own government and making sure that the treatment of these Palestinian individuals could stop? And so I think that's something that was really shocking to me. Overall, I'm just taking it as it goes in terms of the information coming in, so I don't want to give anything concrete. But those are just my initial thoughts. I believe what's happening right now is terrible, and I really don't know how we could absolve this issue.
Yeah, and what you were talking about has been a thing for a very long time. They used to call it Progressive Accept Palestine, PEP. Like that, it was so common to take the side of the apartheid state of Israel because of political pressure. It was a thing, and this is an issue that I get Bernie props on because he evolved and he became better on this issue as time go on. And the breaking story today is Bernie speaking up on that, but I think we did dive in that a little bit later.
We're gonna get to that.
I'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that in just a moment. For right now, I'm gonna share the article that you shared with me.
Okay.
Israel created the refugees in Gaza that they're now bombing. This is by Serge Assi, and it is in Jacobin. Israel's violent founding in 1948 forced hundreds of thousands of Palestinians to flee for the cramped coastal strip of Gaza. The expulsion created the world's largest refugee camp, and Israel is now bombing it mercilessly. This is what we were discussing about. You know, a lot of people for some reason think that Israel is like thousands of years old. As a state, as a nation, Israel began in 1948. There are humans. My father is older than the state of Israel. So that's one thing that I wanted to make sure everybody understood. Israel's founders foresaw the risk of concentrating tens of thousands of refugees in a coastal strip where natural obstacles prevented their dispersion. We have turned their lands and villages into our home. So yeah, this mass expulsion, since they started it, about 750,000 Palestinians were forced to flee their homes. 250,000 of those uprooted, flooded into Gaza, tripling the population overnight. That is what began this. So, Nick, Jammarie said they often confuse Israel with the age of Judaism. Yes, I believe that's true.
Yeah.
And J-Dubs says the UN is corrupt as fuck too.
Yeah, and this is something I want to put in context for you guys. And I covered this on my show. Like when I think about the issue of Israel-Palestine, this is something I consider when I disqualify a candidate. And when I say this and when I tweet this, my intention is not to shame people who vote for Biden. It's to destroy the concept and the cognitive dissonance of the lesser of two evils. So my question I always ask people is, will you support a candidate who's openly homophobic? Will you support a candidate who was openly advocating for the genocide of like Mexican people? Would you? If the answer to that question is no, why would you do that for people who are hardcore Zionists and people who fund genocide of the Palestinian people? How could we have known? Because they was open about it. Joe Biden and his administration went to join the UN Human Rights Council. And when that was announced, everyone lost their minds. Because they're like, oh, see, this is a great thing. They didn't read the article. Do you guys know what the article said? It was from Anthony Blinken, and they said one of the top priorities and the reasons why they joined the UN Human Rights Council because they had criticisms of the UN Human Rights Council because they thought it was too tough on the issue of Israel. So he said they want to fix that by joining the UN Security Council. Once again, I covered this on my show. And the reason why they joined is so they can work on the inside to make them weaker on Israel. So then there's the story how Joe Biden helped delay the ceasefire by blocking UN resolution to call for a ceasefire. And people were like, whoa, what? And I'm like, guys, I was telling you guys this weeks ago that this was going to happen. All you got to do is just stop just reading the headlines. Like, these people are very open with what they are advocating for. So now there's a ceasefire, just breaking news. There's a ceasefire right now. And while we can celebrate that, I don't want people to forget that Joe Biden was complicit in blocking the UN call for a ceasefire for days while Israel can continue to steal homes.
And they're gonna give him the credit for it. Say, oh, well, we got decency in the White House now, and we got no, nigga, that nigga was down for it till I'm pretty sure he's still down for it right now. And
yeah, it's not an accident. I'm telling you guys, it's not an accident that they waited this long. Like, Joe Biden blocked the calls for a ceasefire for the last week because what Israel's trying to accomplish. Israel is trying to replace and displace Palestinian people. So Joe Biden in the United States gave them amount of time so they can bulldoze and evict a ton of people's houses. And then they're like, okay, so ceasefire. Yep. So what's happening there? The U.S. is complicit with this because this is a common occurrence as we talk about the history of Israel. Because they allow them to steal Palestinian land, and then they're like, all right, ceasefire. Then Biden and the politicians do a victory tour. Like, yeah, we did it.
Before any of you Americans go out and congratulate, pat yourselves on the back, shut the fuck up. Damage is already done. Lives are already lost. And we got to do better. We got to make sure there's, like he just said, they just bombed the shit out of them. Killed, 60-something children. I think children was the majority of the deaths over there. So don't congratulate this. Don't be happy. You know what I'm saying? Be happy when it never happens again. Be happy when we out of these fucked up wars and we stop funding these fucked up wars and these terrorists around these in these other countries. So don't go out celebrating. Don't say, oh, well, this and that, because it's just a step. It's just one step, and it's not gonna get us damn near anywhere compared to the fucking generations that we have been over there, that we have been funding this shit. So don't count your eggs for the hatch. I'm telling you, because they always do this. They make y'all let y'all guard down, and then what? They're gonna bomb Gaza Strip in the middle of the night again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Also,
go ahead. Go ahead, RJ. RJ, you go ahead.
Also, I do want to add another point too that I think we're missing, and this is going to be a quick point. Notice when Obama left office, he gave the state of Israel, I believe, $80 billion in aid to them, which was one of the largest aid packages really in American history, and it was over a set of 6 years. Notice how all these different aid packages to Israel are over at least 4 years. It's designed and on purpose that way. That way, it gives you enough time where if another administration changes over, as soon as they get in, you can get another weapons deal. Same thing happened to Trump when he left office. So that's something I do want to add. And so it seems like every 4 years, we kind of have to go through this battle, really of fighting against our own government to prevent them from really funding these different types of wars and casualties overseas. That's why I agree it's important really to defend those people in Palestine against really a fascist state. So that's something I do want to add.
Mm-hmm.
Well said. Go ahead, Debbie. You want to add something?
Yeah, I want to add something to what Rome was saying. Yes, we don't celebrate. Why? One of the reasons why is because that's like a police officer killing an unarmed black man, and then as soon as the police officer kills the unarmed black man, and the police officer goes, "Oh no, we need the ambulance. We gotta get them. We gotta save them now." It's like the damage is already done. You guys already did what you needed to do. So just by virtue of a police officer suddenly wanting to call it first responders to save the life of someone that they just killed, his point is moot. It's stupid. And so the thing is that they're doing it really just as a showy display to make you think that they're on the right side, but they're not on the right side at all. In fact, they are the ones that are perpetuating this. So don't fall for the bullshit. And Rome and Nick were absolutely correct. And I also like to add that, even what RJ was saying, I mean, this is a perpetual cycle that we continuously go through. So we have to be wise enough to see this for what it is and to call out the bullshit, not just for people like us who are on YouTube, but also people who get out on the street and speak out about these things and be vocal about it as well.
Yeah,
You
there's a
are
great comment.
correct, and I'm going to share this article from the Associated Press and show the spin that is put on this ceasefire. Israel approves unilateral ceasefire in Gaza offensive. The way that this article is written, it is a very pro-Israel slant. And I'm going to show you what I mean by this.
Who's it written by?
It's written by the Associated Press, by the AP. So the way that they frame this, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office announced the ceasefire after a late night meeting with his security cabinet. It said the group had unanimously accepted an Egyptian proposal, though the sides were still determining exactly when it was to take effect. And the senior defense officials claim that this is a great accomplishment. Okay. One member of the security said that the ceasefire would happen at 2 a.m., roughly 3 hours after the announcement. A Hamas official said that the declaration of a truce was a defeat for Netanyahu and a victory for the Palestinian people. Just that sentence alone, trying to make it seem like there are two... This sentence right here, that saying a victory to the Palestinian people, how is it a victory to the people to stop being bombed? That's not a victory. And it makes it sound like these are two sides that are equal, like it's an actual war.
A victory,
this is not a war.
A victory
is a genocide.
When they had a motherfucking head. That's a victory. That's when they actually won. When they have their motherfucking the enemy's heads. Other than that, they ain't. I mean, what powers? Man, come on. Just go on with the story because these people piss me off sometimes.
So,
this bullshit.
How do the Palestinian people win when they still don't have clean water? They still don't have clean water. People still being displaced. They're still displaced. Like, does this fix the people that lost their homes? Does it fix the families that had their people killed? We need to pay Palestinian people reparations. Anything less than that is bullshit to me. I'm an advocate for us, African descendants of slavery, getting reparations. And if you are for that position, you should be for Palestinian people getting reparations. And if you're not, you're just a selfish asshole who want to check. Period. So that's when I'm like, I can celebrate the good part.
We got to talk about the word reparations because that's not, it's not just money, man. It's representation, government control, land, shit like that. That's why when we say revolution, and shit like that, you got to watch it if you're not actually for a revolution, if you don't want reparations, because those are big words and they mean all different kinds of things, man. And it's not just a $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, whatever dollar check. Mm-hmm. No. If we get reparations as black people, we're going to need representation and not just a black face in a high place. I mean, we're going to need to own some goods in this motherfucker. So, if you're fighting for reparations and a revolution, you got to really put your all into it because blood, sweat, and tears is the only way you're going to achieve your goal. That's any fucking thing, man. Even putting parts on your car or building on your house. Blood, sweat, and tears, determination. That's the only thing that's going to get us in a place that we are in a better place and at least on a even playing field with these middle class motherfuckers. So.
Mm. This is a great tweet. I'll read it out and I'll pass it right back to you, JB. It won't be too long. Sure. This is a great tweet from Mohammed El Kurd. He's a writer from Jerusalem. Just looking at his bio here. It said, just because there's a ceasefire doesn't mean the death and destruction has ended. Doesn't mean the blockade is lifted. Doesn't mean those who lost their entire families will be rectified. We must continue our campaign to end brutal siege and colonization. And that's what we were just saying, right? It doesn't erase what's going on right now. And Jackie made a good point because this is actually kind of part of propaganda as well, because they paint the picture that this is a two-sided conflict. Just because there's a ceasefire that ended doesn't mean the conflict that's going on in Israel-Palestine is over. I wanted to set the small victories, but we shouldn't be super happy about this. But go ahead, JB. What were you about to say?
Mm-hmm. I just want to cut off the point of anybody who's watching who wants to say that criticizing the state of Israel is anti-Semitic. Absolutely not. If I believe in boycott, divestment, and sanctions in Saudi Arabia, does that make me Islamophobic? Absolutely not.
Mhm.
If I believe in boycott, divestments, and sanctions of the government of Israel, does that make me anti-Semitic? No, absolutely not. So the thing is that what we're saying is that just like the government of the United States does a lot of bullshit that needs to stop, Israel also needs to do the same exact thing. And so it is not anti-Semitic uh, to say anything about Israel when they're oppressing people. In fact, the best thing to do is to speak out against the oppressors so that they stop oppressing people, and also to take action against them, because it's people's lives, it's the oppressed who we stand with.
I keep forgetting that I'm muting myself when other people are talking, so I just start talking and not realizing nobody else can hear me. That's like the third time I've done that. Anyway, so I'm going to throw it to you, RJ. I promise to, from now on, actually pay attention. I'm going to throw it to you, RJ. You were looking up the history of both Black and...
Oh, Jackie.
I think she just dropped.
She just dropped.
I was looking at some
What you was
information.
looking up, nigga?
Yeah, I was looking at. I'll just cover from
I'm
there.
still here.
Oh, there you are. There you are. Okay, Jackie.
Yeah, I didn't actually drop, but anyway.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess I'm going now.
Okay, so did you hear my question, RJ?
I think I heard you like half of it. What was the entire question?
Oh, okay. You were looking up the relation between the Palestinian and Black solidarity throughout the years, right? Or at least since you were alive.
Yeah. I mean,
okay, the reason I say that is because I said it's been happening since the 60s, and he's like, I'm not talking about ancient history.
Ancient?
That's what I said.
Little nigga.
Ancient history.
Yeah, okay. So the one article I liked was by a U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights. So I think I sent it to Jackie. You could put it on stream for people to see. But really what I liked was that there was really a lot of Palestinian and Black alliance, especially during the time of 2014, at really the beginning of the Black Lives Matter era. That was later in the era where Black people being killed by cops, Philando Castillo, Michael Brown, the Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland. It was all that same type of area. And the Palestinian people would really stand in solidarity. And oftentimes Palestinian Americans would come out to protest in solidarity with Black people. And I forgot the name of one of them. Maybe I can find it real quick. Let me see. Oh, there was like a Palestinian American activist named Bassem Masri. I probably butchered the name. But he said, on those terrible nights, and I quote, on those terrible nights in Ferguson when the police were attacking peaceful civilians with tear gas, Palestinians under Israeli occupation offered advice on how to deal with the effects of the gas. Facing violence from an occupying force, whether in Palestine or in Ferguson, forges a mindset that demands resistance and standing up for one's community. When police used military tanks and checkpoints to imprison the residents of Ferguson, I was reminded of the life in the West Bank, where I saw the Israeli military use the same tactics of repression. So I think right now, during this time period, it's really important to, and this is pretty much recent history, but I know there's probably deeper history even farther back than this. But I do believe, just looking at this one case study, it's important to really stand in solidarity with not only the Palestinian people, but continue to have this alliance that's been going on really for at least the last 100 years. And so that's kind of my initial reaction to this. And there's another person named Steve Tamari. He quotes, and I quote, on my first trip to Ferguson one day after the worst police violence, I was drawn to a Black man waving the Palestinian flag. He says, hey, that's my flag. I said, right on cue, he responded, this is our Intifada. During the first National March in Ferguson, August 30th, the banner reads, Palestine stands with Ferguson, and gets a lot of attention from residents and supporters. We were deeply moved by our reception. So overall, I think it's right what we're doing, and for people around the world to continue to stand for them, because they've been for us this entire time. So I think we should continue to stand in solidarity. That's kind of what I've gotten from that article briefly.
Awesome. And I almost remembered to unmute myself this time. For some reason, I keep doing that. I don't know why. Okay. JB, sending it to you about Black solidarity with the Palestinian people. What have you seen, and can you perhaps go back a little bit further than 2014?
As far as Black solidarity with people who are Palestinian, they are us and we are them. So therefore, our struggle it mirrors them. I can't believe I said this to my mother, but I mean, I guess people will get what I mean. But Palestinians are the Black people of the Middle East. So when you look at what they have been through and what they're currently going through, even right now, like right now, we don't see it as much because there's not a big protest going on. But we have had occupying forces come against us. Even with the George Floyd protests, we've seen occupying forces. Even back in, I think it was 1991 with Rodney King, you had occupying forces beating him. We've been even from what's been going on even in the 60s where they're shooting water cannons at us. So we know what that's like. We know what it's like, back in New York when before they even made Central Park, when there was a Black neighborhood that they outed, that they kicked all the Black people out. What happened with Black Wall Street? That area was bombed. There was an area in Philadelphia, I think right near where my great aunt lived, that was bombed. And so we know what Palestinians are going through because we have been through it. And the fact that you have some that look at it as just an equal sides issue is absolutely not an equal sides issue. And one of the things that I've been looking at, people like I'm forgetting his name. I can't believe it. But he was a prominent leftist that had passed away last year. Michael Brooks. Thank you. Michael Brooks and Richard Meadhurst both have said that the whole Israeli-Palestinian conflict is not a complex issue. It's basically just an issue of people having the right to continue to stay in their homes on their own land without being harassed and oppressed and kicked out and evicted. Do you believe that? If you believe that these people have a right to stay and to even protect themselves, then you can't, sit there and side with the Israeli government and what they're doing and think, oh, well, I'm with the side of the oppressed. No, that's not the way it goes. So from what I know from the past, they are us and we are them. That's the best I can put it up.
Excellent. I want to bring this back to Nick. You were going to speak about Colombia on your show on Tuesday, but we ran out of time. Colombia. The reason why I bring up Colombia is because they're going through a very similar situation to what both the Palestinians are going through and to what people in Standing Rock have gone through. And they have a situation where they are fighting back and their government is fighting them. So can you speak on what you know about the situation in Colombia, Nick?
And I cannot emphasize enough why I dislike our politicians, the ruling class, and I curse the name of Joe Biden. Because you guys know Joe Biden is propping up the fascists in charge in Colombia right now, right? people, and you guys realize this is the point I was making before the election. Like, lesser two evil for who, because they're open about who they support. Anyway, the solution in Colombia. I am not exaggerating, and there's an amazing professor. We broke down his video where you're talking about the conflict. There's no exaggeration when you say the leadership in Colombia is literally a fascist cartel. They are complicit with the smuggling of cocaine in that country. They are complicit with cartels. This is who we are dealing with, and these are the people that Joe Biden and the United States government is allies with. Do you guys understand why I'm an anti-imperialist now? So they say bullshit. Sorry, I apologize. They say stuff like, oh, you can't oppose the Syrian war, you can't oppose this war, you can't oppose this, or you're sympathetic to that dictator. They call people Gaddafi puppets. They call people puppets of Aragon. And like they always smear people as Putin puppets that they oppose the U.S. agenda on and pushing their new Cold War. But meanwhile, we are allied with some of the worst people in the world. Like, what more high ground do we have? And now it's a massive spontaneous general strike that happened in Colombia. So what are the critics of people who always want to say, oh, you can't do general strikes, how you can't do it? There's a breaking point in society reaches where there's no other option. That's what we've been talking about on the show. This is what CJ was talking about as well. I believe we've long reached that point in this country. And unfortunately, a lot of people haven't reached that point. That's why we got our show, because we're here to help radicalize people and let people understand there's a need for a general strike. And we had leaders that promoted general strikes, like there's leaders in Colombia that whipped this thing together. That's what we've been calling for. We've been calling for people with a giant platform, and that's why I give credit for Bernie Sanders and Squad stepping up on Israel Palestine. I give them credit for that, but I think they should be doing that across the board on all these issues, helping organize strikes to get stuff done, because this kind of what happened in Colombia, like a spontaneous general strike because of their failed state and people getting tired of the rampant police violence and corruption in Colombia. Now, how it is connected to the United States and why do I condemn Joe Biden so much? Because once again, he sided with the Colombia fascist government, the same way they're fighting with Israel. So now there's a ceasefire that happened. You guys know that Joe Biden blocked a UN resolution on ceasefire yesterday? So I don't want to see anyone with like vote blue no matter who. I don't want to see no Democrats pretend that this is because of your party. And I made that point a little bit earlier, but I can't emphasize it enough. It's all part of their strategy. It's part of their strategy they have been doing for years. They have another offensive. Don't call it a war. It's not a war. Israel pulls another offensive to steal their land. It's not a war. That's what's happening. The U.S. allows that to happen so Israel can take as much land as possible and do their ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians for as long as they can hold off the UN. And just like I mentioned before, Tony Blinken and Joe Biden is complicit with blocking UN resolutions, and they blocked the ICC probe of Israel-Palestine. So they are doing their job. So that gives them enough time to accomplish their goal. Then they pull off. They do ceasefires. Then you still have the apartheid state. Like that doesn't change. They don't get more rights. They don't get equal rights under the law like Israeli citizens. They don't get clean water. They don't get the right to vote. Like these things are still happening despite the ceasefire. So what happened? Israel gained. They gained. And what's the consequences of that? Anything? Nothing? Oh, we still provide them U.S. aid? So that's a win for Israel. What happening right now is a win for Israel. If we do not pull U.S. aid, if we do not block the weapons deal, which I give Bernie Sanders and AOC a lot of credit for proposing that, because I'm all about policy, because I criticize them for not proposing stuff. So if they propose something that's good, I'm going to give them credit for that, because they should. So they won, because now they're going to stop the ceasefire or whatever, but then they're going to start it again, because they're going to do another offensive, and we're going to go to the same cycle again. We're going to go through this cycle until there is no more Palestinian state. When has this happened before? This is what they did to the Native Americans. Same thing. Oh, we ceasefire. We're not here. Take this land over here. It's cool. It's cool. I'm sorry. My bad, bro. My bad. Then they do another offensive. Take some more land. All right. Go over here. It's cool. And now, where's the state at? This was, and Israeli officials, why did I say this? They've been open about this strategy. While Western media has been doing propaganda on behalf of Israel, the people in Israel, they openly They openly admit that this is the strategy. And they say you have Israeli generals that say they basing their strategy based on what the Americans did to the Native Americans. So I bring this up while bringing up the issue in Colombia because I want you guys to understand all these issues are connected. So I mentioned how Joe Biden blocked an ICC probe into Israel-Palestine, right? What did we just cover on our show? We just covered this, how the ICC did a probe in American police. And they found that the way the American police treat African Americans constitute a crime against humanity and violates international law. So the ICC proposed to do the same thing, do a probe into Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu and their treatment of the Palestinians. You know why that didn't happen? Joe Biden blocked it. Connect that issue one more time. I connect issues all day. They tie. The Israeli IDF and their police trains with American police. So the American police that the ICC condemned as violating international law, they teach the same ideology to the IDF and Israeli forces.
I want to get Rome in here. I want to know what you're...
I'll pass it to Rome, but I want you guys to understand that context there. But go ahead, Rome.
I mean, as far as Colombia striking, and even though, the Palestinians are fighting back, it's not going to change. Like I told y'all before, it's not going to change until us here stop it. We are the ones that's funding. Our tax dollars fund these wars. We fund this shit. Like, it starts here. So we got to stop it here. Like, Colombia can do all the protesting they want. Any country, or a continent, if we want to do what we want to do, we're going to do it. But the people here, if we don't like what's being done across seas or anywhere else, or here, none of us are going to get basic human rights, healthcare, or just peace on earth if Americans don't stop the American government first. I know, like it might be a steep hill, but shit, it got to be done, man. It got to be done, or it's going to be too late. It's going to be too late by the time you actually take a foot on the ground. And it's scary as fuck. But shit, whatever, nigga. You gonna die in your fucking way, man. Like, come on, man. Fight for your people. Like, I can't go another week of seeing, or another day seeing this bullshit going on. Children being killed and bombed, and I know that they want to fight back, and I see all these these communists in India. They had one of the biggest strikes in 2020, but it's not gonna stop unless the people that live within the power stop it. But Nick is right. All this shit is connected. All this shit is connected, and this is why I always tell Americans that claim that they are informed, and they say, "Oh, well, you don't understand how politics works and shit like that." Blah blah. But they get mad at me when I say, "Hey, there's blood on your hands." And they say, "Hey, how the fuck can you say something like that?" Like, well, you are informed of what's going on. You know what we do in foreign policy and all these other policies that don't affect your community, right? It's like, yeah, I know what's going on. Well, there's blood on your hands. No, it's not. Well, what the fuck you vote for these people for? Do you support them or not? Because you got to know what they're about. Like, stop being so blinded to these fucking colors and these big words that you probably don't even understand that they saying to you. Man, follow the money. Follow the resources. And people always want to talk shit. Oh, go to Venezuela. Man, I swear, I always tell these people I would tell America to leave them alone. I'll go to Cuba, tell America to take off the sanctions. I'll go anywhere, tell America to leave them alone. America is the problem across the fucking world. Every 800 military bases across the fucking world. Why? We have to stop that shit here. And I don't know how the fuck we gonna re-brainwash the military niggas, but shit, that shit got to be done too. But we gotta stop it, man. We gotta put a stop to this shit. Maybe we gotta put their fucking mothers in front of them when they coming out and busting people's heads. That's why they don't send you out when you in the military. They ain't gonna send you out to your regular neighborhood, to your neighborhood that you was born in. They're gonna send you to Nebraska or some shit like that. New York, but you will never go home and bust nobody fucking heads open. Because what if you see your motherfucking mama, your cousin, and shit like that? That shit really get to a nigga. So we really need to get out here, like, until, like, find out. I don't know what we got to do, like I ain't trying to say stalk your military family and find out where they're getting deployed at, but shit, it's best to put their family in front of their ass while they shooting at targets, because they got to learn, man. They got to learn that they hurting everyone, you know.
I actually agree with you, Rome. I don't know if people heard, but yesterday I saw that as far as the international community is concerned with Gaza, there were Italian shippers they were dock workers, and they discovered that a shipment was going out to go to Israel to help them bomb, and they knew where it was going, and every single one of them refused to unload the shipment. They left it there. They said, no, we are not going to support this genocide. So I think Rome is absolutely right. The power is in the hands of the people. Those warheads are still sitting on the docks in Italy right now. They never made it to Gaza because the people decided we're not going to support this.
Yeah.
So I don't think people realize the absolute power they do have, even in your day-to-day job. So now I'm going to send it to RJ. RJ, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, is that all the actions that the Israeli government is doing against the Palestinian people are completely illegal internationally under the laws of the Nuremberg laws. You know, killing women and children, bombing medical huts, destroying those types of property, creating mass casualties. I mean, all that type of stuff is absolutely terrible. And the problem is that when you have this type of international body, which really refuses to hold any one country to account that does these type of atrocities, to me, it's only going to repeat what happened 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have other countries that come up in this century, which will realize that the international body is complete powerless. And it really inspires dictatorial countries like our own. Like if you look at every international study, when you ask people across the world, what power, what government do you fear will cause the next World War III? The number one on the list is the United States and also many of its allies. And so when you don't have an international body that's strong enough to actually make sure to ensure world peace and to ensure not one country can dictate across the globe and do mass casualties, whether it's to another country or for another country to do it to its own citizens, you're going to get more stuff like this. And so that's why it's really concerning to me that the United States is continuing to fund these different regimes and that these other regimes are treating its own people this terribly. And that's something I just wanted to add real quick.
Okay. We're going to switch course just slightly. It's still technically on topic. Instead of talking about U.S. imperialism abroad, we are going to talk about the imperialism at home. We're going to bring this back to Black Lives Matter. Nick, you being a martial artist, you know that the United States police, the police force is trained by different people, by outside authority. They aren't just trained in-house. You know exactly who I'm talking about. Can you talk about the Israeli forces training our United States police?
Yeah, and it's trying to remember the guy's name, but I'll just Google Killology. That's all y'all do. Killology. But there's an ideology that's very popular among the police. It comes from a book a guy literally wrote called Killology and the Art of the Kill, and how Dave Grossman, and he's very popular, so popular where he gives speeches, and you have grown men who get paid from a government who like fanboys that run up and ask for his autograph because that's how popular he is. He's a giant influence on both the Israeli point of view, and you have a lot of people in the IDF that even says that they adhere to the ideology of Killology, and that's how they get through the trauma of killing innocent Palestinian citizens. That's what the book is about. The book is to train you to dehumanize yourself and don't sympathize with the people you're subjugating. And they're like, it's so funny to me, like they're so open about this stuff, right? And then we're called extremists by like, no, we can't do this no more. So we were just talking about standing in solidarity with Palestine. I want to bring up with the people, the dock workers stand in solidarity with Palestine. Why do you think they are so afraid of BDS? Boycott, divest, and sanction Israel. And people have made a lot of sacrifices. It's much easier now. People lost their jobs standing in solidarity with Palestine. I'm glad that the pressure isn't as high as it used to be, but there's a reason why they've been afraid of this, because it hurts. It really hurts them. I saw a study that showed how much Israeli businesses was hurting because of BDS. This was a few years ago. So they don't fire teachers, they don't fire public officials, they don't deny Dr. Cornel West tenure at Harvard for supporting BDS for no reason. Like, I mean, they love being assholes, but they do it because it actually hurt Israeli businesses and hurt their economy. So this is the kind of pressure we got to put on. And we don't have a lot of power in this game. There are people that just pretend that if we just support better politicians, things get better. They're just focusing on electoral politics. But boycott, divest, sanction. Like, these are the kind of things that we need to organize as a leftist movement. And you can do this through a lot of mutual aid groups as well. You can get a lot of union leaders together. You can have multiple parties that coordinate this kind of stuff together, because why not? We need as many people throwing their weight behind this as possible. And this is why anyone who don't support the actions of BDS, they can't be trusted. And that was like one of the strike one you're out from Yang. Like, Yang has been bad for a long time. Like, the new thing is like people pounce on him now, but he spoke out against BDS a very long time ago. But anyway, back to your question about police training. Like, just look into Killology. That'll tell you everything you need to know about why there's no reforming the police. And one last anecdote before I pass it back to Jackie. Andrew Brown, and we covered this on our show as well. They decided not to release the police body cam footage. So I'm asking all liberals right now, what exactly was the point of the body cam reform if the police can just decide not to release the footage? What was the point? This is why I say you can't reform them. And that's not an extremist position, because they show it time and time again. You got to push this reform. You got Black Lives Matter celebrated, but now police are still killing us, but they just don't release the film. So that's why you can't reform them. We got to have community protection. You call yourself libertarian socialist, anyone who's listening. If you don't support it, you're a fraud, because that's literally the idea. We take our resources and we defend our fucking selves like we used to. Sorry, guys. We defend ourselves. That's the ideology of libertarian socialism. Instead of you spend all this money on wasteful police budgets, we spend on education, housing, healthcare, so people won't have a reason to terrorize the community. Because the idea that this doesn't reduce crime is deeply racist, because it's based on the idea that there's some people that are beyond the pale. That's why white people believe that. Because white people in their heart, whether they want to believe it or not, they see African Americans or anyone with darker skin color than them, and they think they're inherently bad. That's why they think they need an oppressive force to stop them. What we say, and it's backed up by evidence everywhere, give us housing, give us health care, give us a living wage, and there's no reason for us to be thugging. Like, this is common sense. That's the position that the Democratic Party opposes. That's the position that the liberal class that oppose the defund the police movement. This is what they oppose. And I'm asking the chat. I'm asking anyone. What did I say that was unreasonable? And I'll pass it around. What's your thought? What's your thought, brother?
Man, that killology, I should go around and just preach the exact opposite of that, man. Because, I feel like with these motherfuckers, the shit that they done throughout these generations to millions of people, there is no reason for them to still be walking this earth. Like, as a human, you should have been got the wall. For real. Because you have violated every human right that you can possibly can. You have poisoned water. You have murdered children. You are not human. So I feel, hey, maybe I should go against David, whatever the fuck his face is, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of motherfuckers who feel the same way, or they never even thought about it like that. Because I just did an interview earlier for a school in the UK, and I was telling them, like, it's gonna be a time when these motherfuckers really got to go, and you can't be with these people that's fence riding. You gotta surround yourself with people that's gonna be militant about your word. If you're gonna be out here, you're gonna be outspoken. You're gonna be taking care of your community, whatever. You want to protect yourself and your teaching. We all know we are going to die by the hands of the government. Of course, we either going to get neglected or they're going to flat out kill our ass. But we have to fucking go out standing up. Don't let these motherfuckers who dehumanizing themselves, drive you away from the shit. But look, there is a time to kill. There is a time to hurt them. That's when they hurt us. And we've been hurt for many generations now. And I think it's time for us to strike back. We don't have to whack them, but fight back. Because this shit been going on for so long. And for these
Let me just say this real quick, Rome, and I'll pass right back to you.
Sit here and, go ahead, man.
No, it's not going to be that long, but I remember someone wisely said, people are lucky that our community decided that we just want freedom and liberation instead of revenge, because we had a lot of reasons to want revenge. But we are such a wholesome people, despite all the crimes committed against us. We still just want equal rights. Like, we're not even looking for revenge. Yeah. Look at what Israelis are doing to Palestinians. They literally said it in the video I broke down earlier. They consider it revenge. Yep. Are we doing that to them? Nope. Go ahead, Ron. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just want to add that because I think that adds to what you said.
But I feel like, don't when I say sometimes these people got to go, I'm not dehumanizing you. I'm not trying to make them less human. They are humans, but they are sick in the head. They should be either locked away or put down, like, for real. And for them to, just violate our rights like that, and for them to have ideologies, and we have to stop it. We have to stop it at the base. We have to stop it at the base. You have to cut the chicken head off. Because if we don't, they're probably going to be in prison teaching this shit. It's going to live on. We have to stop it at the base. It was a song I was listening to by Crooked Eye. He said, we got to kill him right now. We got to kill him before he put his consciousness into an android and become immortal. We got to kill him right now. And it's getting so close to that. It's getting so close to that. They just like either gonna leave us out or they gonna find another way to stay here forever and rule this bitch like kings and queens that they think they are. But we got to stop it. We got to stop it for real.
There's a great comment by Paul.
She's talking.
Paul said, I mentioned give us a living wage. Paul said, not a living wage, but a freedom wage. And that's why I advocate as a socialist as well. A living wage is a good starting point, but I want a thriving wage because there's no reason not to. Go ahead, Jackie. I just want to read. Good comment, Paul Smith.
I'm going to present something really quick because I am the TikTok queen. I'm going to show another TikTok. This one.
We should be hiring forensic scientists and psychologists to solve murders, not selecting from the people we hire to write traffic tickets. We should be hiring certified public accountants to handle financial crimes, not selecting from the people we hire to write traffic tickets. As an attorney, I have literally had to sit down with a detective in financial crimes and explain to them basic credit card fraud. We should be hiring psychologists, social workers, and pediatricians.
Well, I never got the right people in the right places. That's America for you.
Yeah. So I also want to present this one real quick. Hold on. So there's two parts to this. That was actually part 2, but this is the next one.
But they're not specialized in the way that you think they are. These people didn't undergo some massive amount of expert training to become part of financial crimes. They start as patrol cops and they promote up. I literally had to explain credit card fraud to a financial crimes officer once. Like not the complicated kind, like the kind where somebody fills out a form to get a credit card in somebody else's name, steals their identity, and uses that credit card. It was too complicated. He didn't understand it. The major metro area in which I work recently had found out that one of its murder police was, oh wait, a criminal. Guess how many of his convictions are being challenged right now? I'd known him 10 years earlier, and any idiot could see he didn't belong anywhere near a badge. I also worked with this great special victims unit detective.
So yeah, the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because while we're talking about our solutions to abolishing the police, I just wanted to present someone else showing he's a lawyer. So when he said he had to train someone for credit card fraud, that's sad. He presented exactly why we don't need the police as much as people think. I brought that up because of what Nick was saying about Nick Anrome about why people think we need the police. The police don't do what a lot of people think they do. The police don't really stop crime. They investigate after the fact. And again, they don't have the proper training to even do that, which is why a lot of our crimes go unsolved. So I'm going to send it to RJ. RJ, tell us what you think about the position of abolish the police.
I definitely feel like it's the most essential position, really. I mean, these cops, they're bastards, fuckwads. I mean, there's two types of cops, There's the cops that got bullied in high school who have mental issues. And then there's the cops who beat their wife and are thirsty for power. So, and also Matt, a third part, they're ex-military guys who are trained to kill and not trained to subdue. So there's 3 different types of cops there. And in general, and even if there are so-called good cops, they always get fired by the police unions anyway. So, I mean, those are the problems we have with cops and police. And every major city, half the police budget or even more goes to the police. It seems like every city mayor deep throats the cops all day, any day, just to try to get reelected. So nothing really changes. We need to abolish the police. I'm for it. It seems like it won't get done electorally, of course, because of the city infrastructure put in place and the love of cops from the Karens and the suburbs and from the Chads as well. So it's going to have to get bloody for any change to happen in America. That's kind of my opinion on almost any subject, because even if you do the nice way, the MLK way of protesting, the establishment is always going to tell you what is the acceptable way of protesting. I mean, we've seen even during the George Floyd protest this summer for defund the police and to make sure that he gets his justice. What did they do? They preemptively shut down the highways. It kind of defeats the purpose of a protest, right? You're supposed to disrupt the public. So when the state actually makes it convenient for ordinary citizens to avoid protests, it kind of defeats the entire fucking purpose. So I'm really, really pissed off and kind of done with really our political case scenario. And I do believe it's going to have to get bloody for something to happen. Some people have got to die. Blood has to be shed for anything to be done in this country. And if you look up American history like I do, it always happens. I mean, our own people, our own black people during the 60s, during the civil rights movement, they got beaten by cops, beaten senselessly dead, thrown into the river. Bloody Sunday. Okay? People really have to see that shit in order for them to wake the fuck up and understand that these problems are going to continue to exist, right? And it's not in praying to these fucking politicians, these selfish dipshit cocksuckers, isn't going to fucking help. And so I just get pissed even more and more cynical and more depressed when I have to deal with this scenario. I mean, that's all why I'm for defund the police, because I think it's really the best policy overall to get a little bit more serious and try to calm down myself. But I'm just really frustrated. I don't know what to do. You know, I'm young, so I don't really have that type of experience about past legislative victories, what is the right way to go, past organizing victories, which is the right way to go. So as a young person, it's very frustrating when you see all this stuff going on and you don't really know what to do. That's just my pure rage. And I'll just pass it to Nick because he did something. He said he had a story to show.
Yeah, very quickly, to show exactly what we're talking about. This is from May 14th. This was tweeted out by David, and this was reported in the Boston Globe. It says, scathing new report revealed Boston Police Commissioner abused his wife. Remember how we report that 40% of police officers admit to being abuses to their family? There we go. Another one. He's a police commissioner. So he abused his wife, holding her face to a stove, burning her hair, kicking and choking her. He also engaged in heated fisticuffs with a 19-year-old girl. Oh, by the way, the police department covered it up. The police department covered it up. So what does that tell you? I just want to leave that next. I want to say this last and I'll pass it back to Jackie. Even if you put good reforms, and there are people that have good reforms in their criminal justice plans, like, for example, Bernie Sanders, he has a good criminal justice plan, but he still think we should fund the police more for some reason. Even if you have a good reform, what is stopping you? I mean, what is the mechanism? And this is why I want to ask people who are critical of defund the police. What is your mechanism of implementing that? There's another story, and I report this on this as well. Minneapolis, 5 years before George Floyd, implemented police reforms. You guys know that, right? What Derek Chauvin did to George Floyd was illegal, and thank God he apparently been. We gotta still wait to see what's gonna happen. Apparently, he getting prosecuted for that, but they did a reform to stop him for doing that. But nothing that didn't stop him. And if you want to pretend that that's a something that we should be celebrating, by the way, they did a study between the years 2013 and 2020. 98% of the cops who murdered someone was let off. That's why they paraded Derek Chauvin around, because they're like, yeah, just one example, guys. Be happy that we finally got one out of all of them, right? So that's what I want to bring up there, because this is just another example of you had the department itself covering for a domestic, and then there was another story I saw. I don't want to share it, but there was just a cop 2 days ago. I saw on the story, and this is the third time he's been arrested for violating a restraining order. So what happens? The police, as I mentioned, they abuse their wives, they abuse their lovers, they get restraining orders, and cops, they abuse them even more because they know how to game the system. And this cop was caught doing this at least 3 times, because that's at least how many times he's been arrested. Still work at the force. Good luck trying to reform this system. I'll pass it back to Jackie. I just want to add that context. Here's the reform. One last thing. Because here's the reform, and I tweeted about this in December. I think I can share this part. This is the last thing I was saying. I'll shut up. I'll share this part. That's the story with the Boston police guy, since I got to share here. And this is what I was talking about earlier. and I tweeted, I said, I don't know why liberals pretend we didn't already implement police reform. And a lot of these blue cities already did it, but it hasn't changed anything, haven't it? The Minneapolis police implemented training on implicit bias, mindfulness, de-escalation, and crisis intervention. These are the same thing that, like, when Joe Biden talks about criminal justice reform, he brings this up. Diversified the department leadership, created tighter use. Like, how did this work? Created tighter use of force standards. Did that save George Floyd? Adopted body cameras. We just talking about Andrew Brown. They're not releasing the body cameras. I don't have to read all this because I'll cut myself short here. But did any of this stuff here work? This is why I advocate for police abolition. Any questions? Anyone who think I'm unreasonable here? But go ahead, Jackie.
Actually, I'm going to turn it to JB.
Okay. Your original question. What was your original question? I want to make sure I get it accurate thing.
I was just we were just discussing the merits of what the police actually do in this country, and the merits of what they actually do versus the perception of their necessity.
Okay. The perception is skewed, of course, by manufacturing consent. Especially, I want to give attention to a friend of mine that I had interviewed. His name is Mike Marissi, and he is the author he runs the website called The Gilman House, and he actually made an article entitled Indoctrination. And the scope of the entire article is that when you look at different programs and different movies, things like Law and Order, or you have Dragnet, or you have Chips, or I'm going, back in time. You have all these different cop shows, all these crime shows that show, oh, this is what the police do, or even shows like Cops or Live PD and all these other different ones. That's propaganda, or as we like to call on the left, propaganda. So the perception of what police do is skewed, in entertainment and media, and also even on our local news, because the police reports are always stated as fact. This is what the police say. This is an authority. This is fact. But they don't realize the police have agendas too. Police officers have agendas too. Police officers can be corrupt. So therefore, to accept exactly what they say as fact is journalistic malpractice. And so what police actually do, and I think this was brought up by Nick before, that police only solve 2% of actual crime. So that means 98% of all crime is actually not solved by police. What is their purpose? Why do we have them? And in fact, if you're looking at what's going on, and we're going to bring this back over to what's going on in conflict between Israel and Palestine, if you see what the Israeli Defense Forces, which trains our police, is doing to the Palestinian people, then why in the hell would you think that can be reformed? Why in the hell do you think that the police can be reformed? You look at people like the daughter of George Floyd in the eye and tell her, oh, we just got to retrain them. Or you look at, Mike Brown's mother and go, we just gotta reform them. That's all. There's just a few bad apples, just a few. You know what Chris Rock said in a joke? He said, there are some jobs where you just can't have a few bad apples. Oh, just a few bad apples that are pilots. Huh? What about that? Or just a few bad apples who, make sure our drinking water is clean. Just a few bad apples. No, when it comes to these essential professions, there are contingencies in place to make sure these things don't happen. So therefore, if you do not have contingencies within the police force, then guess what? Then it's bullshit. There's absolutely no need for them. In fact, they need to be defunded now on the road to abolition because they show that they do not serve a purpose, but other than being an occupying force to appease and defend the oppressors. That's all they are. That's all I got to say.
Fire.
Okay, I'm gonna get Roman here.
Shit, I ain't got shit to say. JB already said it. No. As far as as far as these people that's against defunding or abolishing the police, it goes to show you their true character and how they really look at, people of color. They really look at us like animals. They think that we need zookeepers, and I said this before because it's true. They really look at us. They look at us like animals, and no matter how these liberals act nice to us, they would not live in our neighborhoods without gentrifying that bitch first. You know what I'm saying? They won't even come to our stores, none of that shit. They look at us like animals. It doesn't matter who you are. So then you can put all of you just show all these facts of how police, when they solve 2% of crimes, they don't stop serial killers at all. There is no reason to actually have them. And people say, well, what is the alternative? Y'all commit crimes every day. Turn yourself in. Turn your cousin in. Turn them in. You know who commit the crimes. We can, if the people really start voicing and policing themselves and start teaching each other, look, ain't the police that's gonna fuck you up. It ain't the law that's gonna fuck you up. It's gonna be the people. So it starts with you, man. Your neighborhood. Then y'all can do all this shit locally, man. Y'all can start all this shit in your state. I think it was RJ that said you're not gonna get it through electoral politics. Fuck no. What have you ever gotten through electoral politics? Especially something like that. So if you want to abolish the police, defund the police. Defund the police in your city. Make it a trend. And then make everybody else catch on to it. It ain't gonna hit every city or state. Whatever. But as long as it hit the ones that matter, black, brown, poor, all these motherfuckers. Well, we gotta appeal to conservatives for what? To take the police out of black and brown neighborhoods? Is you crazy? Why we gotta appeal to them? No, you just no. No, you look at us like animals. Tell the truth. You think that we need a zookeeper. That's all I'm saying. That's all I feel. But fuck these niggas.
Damn, that's powerful. I'm going to show the article that RJ wanted to show. For those who can't see it, it is a Statue of Liberty created from the rubble of the bombings. This tweet says, a Syrian artist in Aleppo, Syria, built his own version of the Statue of Liberty with rubbles of what used to be his family's house. He added, this is the freedom the United States brought us. And that is what RJ wanted us to show. RJ, do you want to talk about that?
That's what the eyes of the world sees about the United States. And the problem is when United States citizens, there's some of them who are bootlickers to the government, those who are bootlickers to the state of Israel, those are bootlickers to cops. All this type of stuff is connected. So if you're an average citizen at home, you're a bootlicker to a cop, you're really bootlicking for the entire fascist police system domestically. If you're bootlicking really for Israel, for the United States government, without challenging at all, based on all the evidence we've shown today or prior in American history, then you're responsible for the bombings that's going on, especially in Israel and any other place where the United States is occupation. And so that artist, which he drew, basically from his home being destroyed and had the Statue of Liberty, that's what the eyes of the world sees us. The people around the world don't look at us the way that the American textbooks show you they think of us as. When they teach you in the school books, they teach you of the American experience, The American experiment is the best in the world. American democracy, we're the greatest country of all time. And when people look at us around the world, they look at us as destruction, occupying forces, killers, murderers, assholes, thieves, connivers. And so that's what people see about us around America. Conservatives are going to get pissed at me. Well, if you're pissed at what I said, well, fuck you, because these are facts here. So you never really see me say that. Usually I try to play nice, but this is something that you need to wake your ass up, and especially liberals too, fuck you as well. This is something that you need to get your head out of your ass and understand that this is what's going on right now. And these same forces, the same money we're giving to the military to bomb kids overseas is the exact same type of money we give to police domestically to kill people of color all day and every day. And so if you want a depiction of how people really look at America, that artist drew it perfectly. And that's the sad part, because we could do so much fucking better. Literally we can. So that's all.
Like RJ, they can get mad all they want, but it's a fact that majority of internationals and surveys done repeatedly list the United States as the number one threat to world peace. Do you guys know why that is? Because despite constant propaganda and U.S. media protecting Joe Biden, media in other countries are not. Other countries see Joe Biden blocking calls for ceasefires 5 times. And Democrats are going to do everything they can to mentally justify that stuff, do mental gymnastics to justify that. But when you talk to internationals who hate, and you hear this from people in other countries all the time, they said there's no difference between a Democratic president and a Republican president. That was what the Iran foreign minister said. There's no difference. They don't. Other people in the country don't see a difference. They don't see Joe Biden like, oh well, at least he's not Trump. They don't care. if you're in Venezuela and you get sanctioned to death, like Joe Biden's still doing, they don't care. They're like, oh well, at least he's not Trump. When Joe Biden is blocking UN resolutions for a ceasefire 5 times, he did last night. They're not looking at that situation like, well, at least he's not Trump. At least they got rid of Trump. They're doing a good job. No, they just see that and they're like, this is why we hate America. And that's not. There's nothing that I tweet or nothing that we can say that can make that other than the case. The only thing we can do is just call it out for what it is and stand against that. Stand against that. Just like, and Chomsky said it well himself. The people who spend all the time talking about other countries, Chomsky's like, why are you guys doing that? Because we only have power over the country in which we can govern. So yeah, there are other countries that do bad stuff, but there's nothing I can do that if I had an issue with China, what am I supposed to do about that? Any implication leads to imperialism. This is coming from directly for Chomsky. That's why he says it's important to look at your state and push them to do the right thing so you guys can lead as example. America cannot lead as example because just like dictators like Aragon and them say, they point out how the United States treat Julian Assange, just for example. And the war crimes they commit, you got leaders calling out Biden for funding the apartheid state. So when they criticize other countries and they may be right in the criticism, they had no footing to stand on. That's the failure of neoliberal international politics. I pass it back to Jackie. I just want to add a bit of perspective as well. RJ was on money there.
Okay, I'm going to present. This is the article that JB was talking about, the Gilman House indoctrination. It is showing the criminal justice system indoctrination, showing how they indoctrinate in schools, in the media, and it's a pretty good article. It was written by Brian Sims, and it's for the Gilman House.
No, it was written by Mike Moresi. He was quoting Brian Sims.
Oh, he was quoting Brian Sims. Okay, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mike Moresi is actually the third guest that I've actually had on the JB show. If you guys want to talk about that, he also is educated in human resources. So we were actually talking about vocation and technical training. But yes, he actually had that article in the Gilman House that was talking about the indoctrination. And I actually put out a tweet because the thing is, people got to realize how they have been indoctrinated their whole lives. Any of you, especially a lot of you boys, but there was probably a few girls too, but especially a lot of you boys who had G.I. Joes, who used to play and watch G.I. Joe, the TV show, you were being indoctrinated. Every single time you guys watched Transformers, the movie, you guys were being indoctrinated. So just realize how deep this goes, because now you guys are realizing, oh shit, they were trying to push me into the imperialist and the way of imperialism and the way of oppressing, people who may be of color, people who are in different nations. So I want you guys to be careful to realize that a lot of this stuff goes deep, and even still, some of these stereotypes and indoctrination still even comes up in our brains even to this day. Like when I first heard "abolish the police," I was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 hold on." But then, as I continue to hear more, and I continue to hear about the data and the facts, it started to make more sense and more sense. So the thing is that a lot of people are going to come and go, and expect people to be thrown off by that, especially people who are older, who have been indoctrinated ever since they were young. Expect that and be able to, gently, lead them to the data and the history and show them, look, this is what happens, and it's been ineffective. It wasn't it, I think somebody can correct me on this. Wasn't it a few years ago when the police in New York City went on strike and the actual crime rate went down? There you go.
Yeah, that actually happened. The crime rate plummeted for the couple of days or week that they were on strike.
Mm-hmm. So that actually is a provable point about defunding the police and eventually police abolition. I mean, that's right in your wheelhouse, Nick.
we gotta dive into this a little more. I'm more asking you guys. I'm asking the chat too. Because I have been following like recent news today. But is it really true that the squad just helped fund the police more? Do you guys know about the Capitol Police stuff that's going on? That's spread on Twitter. Like this is actually incredible. I'm literally asking you guys because I'm seeing this all right now. And if that's true, I am gonna be livid. But I'm trying to keep an even kill. But apparently, they did vote as a block again, and AOC voted like present, and that allowed them to because they only passed it with one vote. And I think AOC, I'm gonna pull more information, but I think someone else voted president for the squad, and that allowed it to pass.
Okay.
Would you know some more about that, RJ? Because I'm more like asking you guys.
Yeah, that's how I was trying to answer. You kept talking. So what I was trying to say is that Rashida Tlaib, remember I was praising her the other day, so I look like a clown now. And AOC and Ayanna Pressley, the mole, they all voted present. Now, what does that mean? Now, when you vote present on a bill, what that does is it's not a yes vote and it's not a no vote. All it does is it lowers the threshold needed to pass a bill. So when AOC, when Ayanna Pressley and Rashida Tlaib voted present, it lowered the threshold. That means anyone in the existing body, you actually you don't need really their votes. So as long as you have a simple majority of those with the ability to vote, then it passes. And then Cori Bush and I think a few other ones voted against it. And so it was able to squeak by with one vote. And so if AOC, Rashida Tlaib, and Ayanna Pressley actually voted no, it would have died.
Yeah, this is a good thread on it. You may have seen this, but let's go through this real quick because this is actually a pretty good breakdown. I'll pass it to Jackie, and then we can get back on topic. But I think this is important to quickly because I've seen everyone talking about this, and I want to make sure we're correct on this. So this was everything as it's happening. This is when they was reporting that the fact that Democrats aren't doing, and this guy accurately calling it a scandal. This is them getting everyone caught up. The Capitol Police today requested a giant budget increase. Like I'm saying that myself, like that's 103 million, a 20% increase. That's a 20% increase from the increase that they got already. It's crazy. Like I said, we're going through this together. But this is the part we're talking about right here. some of the only people opposing this violent nonsense are, here you go, the squad, pretty much here. But then, update, devastating news. The dangerous bill passed 213 to 212 with AOC, Rashid Tlaib, and Jamal Bowman abandoning their positions and voting present instead of against it. So, what do you guys think happened? Because you know they got a phone call. Like at this point we know what happened, and this is why I'm trying to stay calm here. But this is why we have a problem with them, because I think they wanted to vote in a way to stop this, right? Then they got that phone call.
Here's the thing.
Buckled, no doubt in my mind.
Here's the thing, though. Like, people are going to get pissed at me when I say this, but let's just say you do leverage your vote in a way where you know it has to pass, but you get concessions for it. It's still a shitty bill, but at least you get something to say, hey, I got something for it. It's kind of like the same thing with, like, the COVID relief bills. You know, Bernie would revel on about how terrible they are, but he ends up voting for it, but he gets some tiny concessions inside the bill. We didn't even get that. They just voted aligned with the establishment and didn't get anything to show for it. So that's kind of what really shocked me about that. And Nick, you can go. I just wanted to say that.
No, I'll pass it back to Jackie. I just want to bring this up because this is in the chat right now. I think it's important to at least mention it. And I think maybe me or RJ, one of us, we do a more comprehensive breakdown maybe in the next few days. Because I think this is significant. You guys know who follow the show. This is an issue I'm passionate about. And if they are complicit anyway with funding the Capitol Police more, and I didn't know that. I'm learning with you guys. This is a 20% increase to the increase they already got. This is so crazy. I'm gonna be furious, guys. I'm gonna be honest. And if you like the squad, and you're gonna be upset with me because that's unacceptable.
Yeah, this bill that they were passing, it was actually a direct reaction to what happened in January 6th, which basically makes liberals come. That's what January 6th is. Yep, so it was a direct response into that. They wanted to give the police more money, even though it was their fucking fault that they almost got fucking killed. So that's the funny part. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on with that.
I was about to leave them alone on January 6th. I literally wasn't gonna bring it up because people got so mad at me while I was making fun of it. But now you guys saw my tweet today. I don't know if you guys saw. Well, I'm like, bro, I'm tired of this shit. Like, it's a joke. January 6th is a joke. And I don't care if you get mad at me for saying it because the Pentagon and the police was complicit with it. So January 6th was a publicity stunt gone wrong. And because January 6th, the reason why it happened is due to racism. What do you mean by that? So this is a publicity stunt gone wrong because the Pentagon and the police underestimated how radicalized white nationalists and MAGA was. Why do they underestimate that? Because they assume that right-wingers, white people, are completely reasonable, no matter how extreme they are in their political positions. But we bring it up all the time. Without Black Lives Matter or any leftist protest, you will see bodies in massive numbers on Capitol Hill.
Yep.
And I covered on my show. I'm gonna cut myself here very soon. But I covered my show like examples of what happened when people try to get anywhere close to Capitol Hill. And there's stories of people getting fucked up by the Capitol Police for doing very, very mild stuff. And you think that these people can just bust in? And there's stories how the cops let them in. So I'm not buying or crying down tears because the state was complicit with this because it's inherently racist. They wanted to help Trump with his fucking publicity stunt, and I think Democrats helped them too because that helps them fundraise against Trump and MAGA. Because if this thing pops off, it's amazing for the Democratic Party. So I think they are complicit. And you guys can get upset with me all you want, but I am, especially with them funding the police more because of this. I am done with January 6th. People got mad at me because I was laughing at it. You guys are gonna get even more upset with me now because now they funding the police more using this. Now instead of me laughing about it, I'm now openly mocking your position and pretending this was a big deal. No, January 6th is a fucking joke, and it's nothing compared to what we do to other countries internationally. That's for real. Like the actual fucking coups that we actually sponsor. Don't get me started. Like people already know people get mad at me when it comes to January 6th, and people did before. I got canceled by some people because I was laughing at it. But now people really gonna get upset at me because I'm tired of this nonsense. I really am. All right, I'm done.
To me, January 6th is not the joke. The squad is the joke. And the punchline is we thought they were going to help us. And as you can see, they are just helping their own careers. Why did they vote present and not against? This is something that they are supposed to be against. Like, you don't even have to be 100% for abolish the police or even defund the police. You can say, do not give them more money. How is that a difficult position to take? So I am 100% done with them. They are not doing a damn thing that they promised they would do. The experiment is over. We see with Justice Democrats, yes, they can be corrupted, even if they don't take corporate money, because they're still a part of the system. The system itself is corrupt. The system itself is what needs to be changed, not the individual that you put in. 1 or 2 or even 10 individuals isn't going to change shit.
You know, it's funny. This is one of the reasons why I stopped talking about people who are running. And I even, get people who are like, oh, this person's running for Congress. And I'm like, under which party? They're like, oh, they're running as a Democrat. I don't say shit. I don't say nothing. Even if they say I'm for all the right things, that don't mean a damn thing to me. Because once you get into the mud, you're going to get dirty too. So what's the point of even supporting them? Now, I'm sorry to any of you who's running for Congress right now, who, is running as a Democrat and you guys want my support, but you're not going to get it. I'm sorry. Because the thing is that if you're going to run into that party and then be a part of that party, guess what? You're going to be co-opted. Let's be real. And so the fact that they want to continue to give money to the people who left the gate open. Wait, hold up. Why are you giving money to the people that allowed your enemies to come against you? Why are we promoting that? Why are we giving them that? Because you're cucks. Enough said. They cut to the Democratic Party. They cut to the oligarchs. That's basically all it is. And look, I'm gonna be real. Kyle Kalinske was right. They're cowards, all of them. And he's the one who helped create the Justice Democrats. And if he also has that feeling, guess what? You're damn sure that the rest of us do. So the thing is that they're not only turning themselves from, someone that's, not our ally, they're turning themselves into an enemy. And that's what makes it suck so bad.
Yeah, man. And the thing is, we just now bring this down live, but it's this is probably the best example now of them being cowards that we have, because think about all the calculations that it took for them to do this, be complicit with funding them more. Because they definitely was like, oh, if we block them from getting the funding, the right wing gonna say we are extremists who want to defund the police. So the Democrats will blame us. The media is gonna be upset. They're gonna say that we are complicit.
They do it anyway.
So
they do it anyway.
We call it Biden a socialist.
I'm like, yeah.
Oh
go for broke.
So stupid.
Do
I
it.
cannot believe this.
Do it. Defund and abolish. Go ahead. Do it. They're going to call you the same shit anyway. And guess what? The people will be with you. Who cares? Who gives a shit what these motherfuckers think? All right? So all they are a bunch of fucking idiots who want to keep all their riches. That's all they are. Who are you with? Are you with the people or are you with them? Are you with the people who want to kill everybody just so that they can stand on top of the mountain? Because guess what? In the end, they're going to be standing on top of you when you're dead. So guess what? You better stand with the people. Because guess what? I'm sick and tired of these people co-opting and being out of fear with these oppressive cockwaffles. Yeah, I just made that word up. Cockwaffles. So you know what? Screw them. Screw them all. And you know what? Like Rome said, get your ass in the streets and let people know that you don't stand for this, because guess what? This is our country. I'm done. I'm out. I'm done.
Okay. I want to say thank you to Luke Wellington for the $5 donation. And he said he personally needs to find more Black-owned and socialist-leaning businesses and products to support. There is one that you can support. It is called Jet Black Empowerment, and you can go to their website, which is www.jetblackenpowerment.com. And I believe that they have on their website resources, a tab where you can find other Black-owned businesses to support. Ace just dropped the link in the chat. We are coming to an end of our broadcast for this week. I want to thank everyone for coming in. Thanks to the support and the donations. And I am going to send it to RJ first. RJ, what do you have coming down the pipeline?
Okay, tomorrow I will not be going live, but I'll have two interesting interviews for you. The first one is going to be at 6 p.m. It's going to be with Jabari Morris. We're going to talk about universal basic services. We're also going to talk about public banking. And at 7 p.m., I'll have an interview with my close friend and best friend, Chad, where we'll be talking about climate change, Zoomer culture, because we're both Zoomers. So this would be like the second time you get someone my age on FHL, so you should enjoy that. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. You should check that out.
Okay. JB, what do you have coming up next?
Sorry for getting so upset there, but that got me.
No, that's passion. Don't apologize for that at all.
Yeah. So Sunday I will be interviewing Richard Meadhurst from the Richard Meadhurst Show. We will, of course, be talking about the Israeli-Palestine conflict that's going on right now. And I would also like to get some more of his opinion on what's going on with the foreign policy. We currently, I think we're still in 7 different wars right now, plus a proxy war with Yemen. So I would like to get some more of those, because foreign policy is deeply important, especially to those of us here, at home. So I'll be talking to him on Sunday live at 1 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay. And Rome, what do you have going on?
I'm about to go chill, smoke a blunt.
Not that. Aren't you on your tour?
Oh yeah, I'm on tour. I'm about to be in Ohio, in Lucas County. We're about to do a giveaway for children. We're gonna drive around to I'm trying to hit 5, but at least 3 or 4 different projects, low income housing. Just pull my big ass speaker out, blast some music, make some people come out the house and tell their ass come get this free ass shit. But it's gonna come with a communist price at the end of the day. But that's just about it for me. Do I got interviews coming up? No. I gotta see my time frame with these interviews, but I do got 3 of them coming up in the future. But that's gonna be a while because I'm on tour. So just catch me on Saturday and or watch RJ, Jackie, or one of these motherfuckers.
Okay. And Nick, what do you have going on?
So,
Damn,
hit the
JB.
bell, stay subscribed. I'm gonna do what Roma do. I'm gonna actually join good friends of the show, Jackie and Leela, host of the Happy Hour podcast. I'm gonna join them right after this. But the reason why I say hit the bell, we got a lot of cool things coming up here, and I'm glad that you guys watched Dr. Cornel West conversation, which was an honor. But I have a lot of good projects coming up. Hint, Fred Hampton Jr. But anyway, keep stay tuned. Rome is also working on Rosamund Garland. We got a lot of stuff coming up, man. We
got a lot of shit going on right now, y'all.
Crazy.
I don't know if y'all saw that last tweet that she put up, but she's going through a lot of shit. We had a conversation that same day. She is safe as far as I know. So, last thing that's on my mind is squeezing an interview out of her, and she's going through dire times right now. So
yeah, we gotta keep that in consideration too. Also, I'll put the link to the Patreon in the comments, and also I usually leave it in the description as well. Once again, it's more of a if you have it, like you guys know we put all our stuff out for free anyway. But if you guys want to see us grow, if you guys want to see us travel, actually put in work for our community, the more we grow, the more we'll be able to do that. So thank you guys for watching. I'll pass it back to Jackie. There's a lot of cool stuff coming up.
For me, I have interviews coming. Of course, every Monday we've got Nerdolitics with my co-host Killjoy Meg. This upcoming Monday, we are going to Infinity War on our road to we're stopping by Infinity War on our road to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Later today, I know I said it on Tuesday, but I had some complications with trying to get the podcast going out. Later today, the podcast, which is when Nick and I talked to Dr. Cornell West, that's going to hit our website and Anchor and anywhere. I don't think we're on every place that you can find a podcast, but we're definitely on Spotify, Apple, Google, the major places. So that's going to come out today. Soon, hopefully by the end of the month, we will be on Rockfin. So look for that. As of right now, we have a website. You can go check out any of our episodes there. The website is fredhamptonleftist.com. Check us out there. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for supporting us. We also have a Discord. We know that we don't have a ton of perks in our Patreon because we don't want it to be something that is, we don't want to have a paywall so that you guys have to go to Patreon to see our content. All of our content is free. We're working on trying to put up all of our episodes on Patreon. Problem is we're having a little bit of a technical issue with getting it to actually show up and play. But as soon as we get that figured out, we're gonna upload everything. We promise it's not gonna stay a ghost town. But thank you guys for supporting us. Thank you guys for listening. Like, share, subscribe. You guys are awesome. We will see you next week. Tomorrow is RJ. Don't forget to check it out. And thanks.